Yo, 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 what up, y'all? It's your boy Rob coming back at you once again with another live stream. So before we get started, you already know what to do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice. Smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers, and let's get it cracking, all right? So real quick, sound check. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. If it sounds clear, crisp, and clean, give me a thumbs up. If you can't hear me, give me a thumbs down. All right. Shout out to my man Torian. Torian says this is one of Rob's variants. Facts. So also, you know, today is Thursday. Me and TD Hip Hop Media, we got Just Talking with TD and Rob at 3 o'clock. So if you guys are not subscribed to that channel, 3 o'clock Eastern time, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and go check out that live stream. It'll be fun. You guys know it always is. Now, I'm going to try to rush through this because I actually want to try to get a video done and get a little nap before we go live. So I apologize if I run through things and if I miss some comments. All right. Let me ask you guys a question. Has anybody heard anything about East Palestine since the last stream that I did? And if you guys have heard anything, drop it like it's hot in the comment section. You know what I'm saying? You can tell me information about East Palestine too. You know what I'm saying? So if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, but if I'm not mistaken, I think a total of 3 trains derailed there. They haven't really talked about the other ones. Yeah. Catsy says the EPA is testing now for dioxins. What are dioxins? Anybody know what that means? What are dioxins? This is an article from the Independent. All right. Another Norfolk Southern train derails as the CEO apologizes before Congress for Ohio toxic crash. All right. So let me see. I'm gonna try to see if I can get this to play. For some reason, this isn't showing up. Yeah, let me see. We'll just read it. I guess it's not showing up. Then it pops up down here. So now here it says Norfolk Southern CEO apologized for the Ohio toxic train derailment before Congress on Thursday, just hours before another of the company's trains came off the tracks in Alabama. All right. So my question is, why are all these Norfolk Southern trains derailing? What's going on here? And Charlie Kirk is about to say that this is a war on white people. Let me ask you guys a question. I need everybody's participation. Are trains derailing in remote locations in Ohio? Is that evidence of quote unquote the, right? Not an alleged quote unquote the, because apparently there's a war on white people. Is that evidence of the war on white people? If it is, give me a thumbs up in the comment section. If it's not, give me a laughing emoji in the chat. Alan says, while wiring barges together, large balls of dying fish would randomly float to the top of the water. Yeah, I heard about that. Shout out to Speak Facts Podcast. What's good with it, bro? Approximately 30 train cars derailed around 6:45 a.m. in Calhoun County, according to a local emergency management agency statement. No injuries or leaks of hazardous materials were reported. There is no danger to the public, said a statement. It's the third incident involving Norfolk Southern trains in the past week. Now, here's my question for you. How is Norfolk Southern being held accountable for this? Better question. Are they being held accountable for this? Because this to me sounds like there's an ongoing problem that's not being properly addressed. And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, we got 34 live viewers. Shout out to everybody that's watching. And we got 24 likes. If everybody can hit that like button, that would be great. So now here it says at 10 a.m., Alan Shaw testified before the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee about the chemical spewing disaster which occurred in East Palestine on the 3rd of February. I'm deeply sorry for the impact this derailment has had on the people of East Palestine and surrounding communities, and I'm determined to make it right, Mr. Shaw said. Now, let me ask you guys a question, right? Let's talk about public sentiment. Let's talk about public sentiment, all right? Let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to East Palestine, Ohio, how many people do you, shout out to Vincent Harper, what's good with it, bro? How many people do you all think supported Trump in that community? That community looks like probably 100% of the people there supported Trump. You know what I'm saying? Looks like probably about 100% of them burned crosses in the meantime. You know what I'm saying? And they probably use those railroad tracks for things other than trains going over them, which could possibly be why the train derailed. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody saw the beginning of the Malcolm X movie, what those people did to Malcolm X's father. You know what I'm saying? But we all know that that's an American pastime. They just recently found a young black man decapitated. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Al McCowan for joining the membership. Memberships help. They're definitely appreciated. You guys notice they only cost 99 cents. On this channel, we're getting close to 50. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nelly. What up with it? They only cost 99 cents, and we're getting close to that milestone of 50. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't be surprised if in the rural areas they're doing that kind of thing. And that could possibly be one of the things that contributed to the trains going off the rails. It might not be a manufacturer issue at all. It could be a pastime issue of what these people could be doing. And again, that's just speculation. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to act like that history is not there. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to public sentiment, there's policies that President Trump put in place that decreased the quality standards of the Norfolk Southern train line and the trains. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that? If you guys knew that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys did not know that, give me a thumbs down. So here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yeah, the companies do know better, but companies only do what they're regulated to do. Everybody knows better than the speed, but a lot of people drive 5 miles over the speed limit. I mean, what does that mean? All companies try to take the easy way out, and knowing that they do that, that's why the regulations should be harsh, especially when they're carrying hazardous materials. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show you guys something real quick. All right. I'm going to show you guys something. Trump forgets to mention the train safety regulations he gutted during the visit to East Palestine, Ohio. Now, why am I saying that? Am I saying that to shit on Trump? No. Am I saying that to shit on the people of East Palestine? No. Somebody already took a toxic dump on them. I don't need to contribute to that. The reason why I'm saying that is because of the way that the public deals with these situations. You see a Ukraine-like sentiment when it comes to East Palestine. Oh my God, the poor people of East Palestine, which make no mistake, those people aren't poor that live there. You know what I'm saying? They're just going through so much, right? Now, am I saying that they're not? No, because I'm sure that they are. Their entire way of life and where they live at has been contaminated by radioactive chemicals. But at the same time, there's no mention of, well, these people need to take responsibility. I mean, they did contribute to putting in the president who gutted the train regulations, because when it comes to Flint, or when it comes to Jackson, or when it came to Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, well, the black people should just be left to die because, they voted in those politicians and the money was mismanaged. I mean, when it comes to Mississippi, I mean, thank God I don't have to go through Jackson. I mean, thank God anywhere in my place that I live at, do I got to go to East Palestine? I mean, thank God. Man, that's shitty, right? But notice how nobody immediately gets shitty when it comes to these people. It's, oh my God, what can we do to help? Oh my God, it's just so bad, so bad, so bad. There's toxic shit going on all over the place. What's so special about this one? I know what's special. I know what's special. We all know that the people in that particular area don't do the best with radiation for many different reasons. That's what's so special about it. Just, man, facts. Don't even get, man. We could do a whole stream about that shit, bro. Super facts. Super facts. The township, the heights, Chrysler, man, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Biggest facts. East Palestine is a sundown town. Well, it might be glowing for a while. It might be glow in the dark for a while now. Trump forgets to mention the train safety regulations that he gutted during a visit to East Palestine, Ohio. Now, he came out there. Those people felt special. And, it was what it was. During a visit to East Palestine, Ohio on Wednesday, Donald Trump accused the federal government of indifference and betrayal. And what that basically means is, how could you let these white people die? How could you let these white people's lives be ruined? Because has anybody ever said anything about betrayal or indifference when it came to Jackson, when it came to New Orleans, when it came to any of these other places? Was there betrayal? I mean, like, didn't they get betrayed by Barack Obama in Flint? Trump did say his supporters were dumb and they ate it up. They love trauma. They love it. They love trauma. That's why listen, Torian, check this out. Hold on real quick. Give me a second. If you guys haven't smashed the like button, smash that like button. They like trauma. You know what I'm saying? That's why Esposito, shout out to my man Esposito, the resident troll, is watching right now. That's why Esposito is watching right now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody tell Esposito to come over on YouTube so he can get beat up a little bit. Like, man, stop being scared. You know what I'm saying? You on your Scott Allen shit, Esposito? The only way that I can watch Blacklight Revelations content in peace is if I just separate from those hateful people over there and, do my own thing, because just so you know, I'm probably the only white male in America with free speech in Blacklight Revelations live streams. And it's because I use Twitch. Y'all see that interview that Scott Adams did with who was it? It was Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo was sitting there looking confused and shit. He was looking for Don Lemon. And Scott Adams said that crazy ass shit. He said, yeah, there's been plenty of black people that have recently invited me to the barbecue. They cooked their meat a little bit too much. And, the seasoning can be a little bit overwhelming, and the Kool-Aid. I think I might have developed diabetes, but yeah, ever since I said that racist ass shit, I mean the invites, they just keep coming. Oh my God, man. What is wrong with the world, y'all? Besides the fact that it's correct. And that's what we have to deal with. So now what I want to know is, why is it that irresponsible train derailment in East Palestine, right? Because let me ask you guys something. When they put the train track through East Palestine, did the city vote on that? They had to get authorization to do it from somewhere, right? To put the rail line through there. So now, in many cases, they'll do eminent domain and they'll just lay the railroad track, or sometimes they'll vote it in, you know what I'm saying, with some zoning regulations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, those people had the choice to continue to live there or to go move somewhere else, right? So now, how nice would that be, right? Like how awesome would that be if, after you just had nuclear waste dripping all over the place, I just happened to say, well, I mean, I don't know why you want the world to stop. I mean, you chose wrong. You could have moved somewhere else. Why is it that when that happens to an area that's predominantly black, that's the energy that we got? But then when it happens to some good white people, you know what I'm saying, it's, oh my God, you know what I'm saying, like there's a war on white people, and the train tried to attack the good white citizens of East Palestine. And if this was anywhere else, 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 what? This is proof that there's no such thing as racism against white people. Because what it seems to me like is that East Palestine ain't getting no kind of special treatment. So this is proof that when they're not getting special treatment, that's when they feel that it's anti-white racism. You're getting left behind just like Flint. You're getting left behind just like Jackson. You're getting left behind just like New Orleans. Oh, hey, what's up, Alonda? It's it's called Cobra Currency. That's what it's called, Cobra Currency. And shout out to my man Super Robot Ed. If y'all ain't subscribed to my man Super Robot Ed's channel, make sure you guys go over there and check him out. That would be messed up, right? Now, here's my question. Why is it that when something happens to us, it's automatically our fault? And they don't hold their tongues about it at all. I mean, they're all over Twitter. Well, they put those stupid politicians in and they get what they get. I guess the 2-year-old baby should just get radiation and have a unicorn horn growing out of her head and grow a third eyeball for the rest of her life. We told them. We just wrecked the lib. We just wrecked the lib. We just wrecked the lib. Getting fresh water to Flint is woke, because the people in Flint should just drink lead poisoned water. But if we don't just all hold hands and cry for the good people of East Palestine, Ohio, well, damn it, it's a war on white people. Don't you see how the United States is changing? I don't see any change. The only thing that I see is now you're waking up and noticing that you're not shit either. You're waking up and realizing that the world is correct, and Blacklight Revelations emojis and NBC suits are all over the place. Appreciate you, Super Robot. You know what I'm saying? So I think that one of the things that people need to start doing is we need to start comparing the logic. Let me ask you guys the question. I haven't seen anybody like drop any memes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I hope they all get radiation. I well, they have nuclear power leaks out there. Well, if the train wouldn't derail, I'd send a crate of UV protectant to help them with the first layer of radiation. I mean, nobody's doing that crazy shit. But literally, that's what they do with us. It's your fault. You decided to move there. You decided to vote for Trump. You decided to allow this company to maintain a transportation route through your town, knowing the risks. But now here's my question, Katsy. Was it particularly black people who were doing that? Or was it white liberals? Because what people like to do is when white liberals do something, they like to say that it was black people who did it. They did a really good job of doing that shit during BLM. Because there's another thing that white people don't like to admit, which is a very odd phenomenon that I've seen. It was white libs all the way. I figured there, and I've said this before. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of black people that support Trump. There's a lot of undercover black Trump supporters. There's a lot of undercover black conservatives. Now, when I say undercover black conservatives and undercover black Trump supporters, I'm not talking about coons. I'm not talking about coon conservatives. I'm talking about there are some regular, average, everyday black people who are to the right and support Trump. They would go vote for Trump if he ran again. There are a lot. They don't necessarily agree with all of his policies or rhetoric, but there's a few highlight things that just beat out the next guy, and they would vote for him. The white media does not admit that, and they do not acknowledge that. And I find that very fascinating. That is an extremely fascinating dynamic. What else is fascinating is that the larger majority of the Republican Party doesn't acknowledge that. The only one who happens to ever even mention it in passing is Trump himself. And the thing is that when Trump says some shit, you don't know if it's him actually being truthful or if it's him just passing. Trump will say some crazy shit. I love the blacks. The blacks love me. What the fuck is you talking about? What are you talking about? You don't know with Trump if he's serious or if he's not. So Trump has actually alluded to that shit before, but because it's Trump, it doesn't mean anything. Because don't shit mean anything with Trump unless he's the president. And the only reason it means something when he's the president is because he's putting his signature on it and somebody else is going to do it. But one thing that the mainstream media, the conservative media, and the liberal media will not admit is that there is a large sector of average everyday black people who rock with Trump. And I think that it's interesting. Trump fudges everything. Literally every single thing Trump fudges. Trump is one of them people that like his story has to beat yours. And when he does come up with a story to beat yours, if it's monumental enough, he'll put it on Truth Media and then retweet it a bunch of times to make it trend on Truth Media, because all you got to do is retweet some shit once on Truth Media, since Trump is the only person on there, and it'll be trending. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and that's true, Super Robot Ed. The whole Central Park 5 thing turned me off. There's a lot of stuff that he did that turned me off, but then there was a lot of stuff that he did that I was like, this is a better thing than what a Democrat would have done. You know what I'm saying? And to me, there's nothing wrong with admitting that. Like, there's no shame in admitting that. Joe Biden is a complete idiot. You know what I'm saying? A brick could be a better president than Joe Biden. So, I mean, Trump really has it easy. I mean, when you're comparing Trump to a person that has the IQ of a slug, you really, I mean, it's really going to sound like you're big upping Trump when you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person just happens to be somebody that can think in complete sentences. So he has the clear advantage over Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Like, Biden is that bad. So the thing is, the reason why I bring that up is because shout out to my man James Hudson. What's good with it, bro? The reason why I bring that up is because there's like no accountability being pushed onto the people of East Palestine, which, if you ask me, in any emergency situation, in any disaster situation, that's not the time for that. During Hurricane Katrina, it's not the time to troll black people about politics. During Flint, when little kids don't have any water, it's not the time to troll black people about politics. In East Palestine, when you got nuclear chemicals all over the place, it's not the time to troll about politics. But this is what these people do. You don't get to do that and then not get it back. You're getting it back today. You're going to get it back every day as long as I have a YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Because the inconsistencies have to be exploited. You cannot sit there and say that, oh, it's not about race and I don't see color, when you react to situations that are color coded a certain way. You don't get to do that unchallenged. You don't get to do anything unchallenged. You don't get to get any damn oxygen unchallenged anymore. You know what I'm saying? Not anymore. It's black people's fault that a hurricane came through New Orleans. Okay, well, it's your fault that the train derailed then. But guess what? Black people didn't vote for no damn hurricane to come through. Let's start taking away factors. We didn't vote for a hurricane. You know what I'm saying? We didn't vote to have Louisiana geographically where it is either. It's literally just a game of trolling. We're just going to troll these people. We're just going to talk crap. We're going to get them to say all kinds of crazy stuff about them. And then when they say crazy stuff back, we're going to take screenshots of it and retweet it and retweet it and retweet it. And maybe Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro with 7 million subscribers will pick it up and they'll tell everybody about it and make it look like this stuff has been going on the entire time. Which is one of the reasons why you will always see these people have significantly higher amounts of subscribers on their platforms than we do, because these platforms are the communication vehicle, and there is nothing that is in this system that is ever going to give us an ability to destroy it. Those are things that we have to come up with ourselves. These are good temporary, fixes, or, good ways to disseminate information and pass around ideas. But none of this is the kryptonite. None of this is the kryptonite. None of this is the Death Star. You know what I'm saying? We need to be working on the Death Star. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But I don't disagree with you, Super Robot Ed. All you got to do is release a lot of hydrogen or a lot of sulfur into the air. You know what I'm saying? And poof, you have some chemical reactions that can change weather conditions. You know what I'm saying? So during a visit to East Palestine, Ohio on Wednesday, Donald Trump accused the federal government of indifference and betrayal. In the wake of the February 3rd freight train derailment, that resulted in residents within a 1-mile radius being forced to evacuate. He added that what this community needs now are not excuses, but answers and results. And throwing a bit of red meat to the right, said that he sincerely hopes that Joe Biden will have some money left over to deal with the disaster when he gets back from touring Ukraine. One thing Trump didn't mention, the train safety regulations he gleefully gutted as president. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you all feel that the train regulations that he gutted could have contributed to the conditions that led to this derailment? If you guys feel that that is possible, give me a thumbs up. If you feel that that's not possible, give me a thumbs down. Okay. Among the biggest relevant regulatory rollbacks Trump has conveniently remained mum over is the 2018 scraping of a 2015 Obama era ruling that required advanced braking technology on trains transporting particularly hazardous materials. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Richard. Uh-oh, Richard. That rule would have required compliance by certain trains by 2021 and others by 2023. But as Fortune reported at the time, Trump's Department of Transportation decided that the cost of installing those more sophisticated brakes outweighed the benefit. While it has been noted that technically the rule would not have required the Norfolk Southern train that derailed in Ohio to have such brakes, some believe it would have if not for Trump. Now, that's not true. It would have only done it if it was a requirement. It was for particular trains. This one wasn't one of them. Right, Catsy? And that's what it said right here in this article. So now he should be embarrassed, right? But the thing that's interesting is that the rule that he cut wasn't a rule that affected the kind of train that derailed. You know what I'm saying? The rule that he cut didn't affect the train that derailed. So here's an even better question. Why is the media even bringing it up? According to Cynthia Quarterman, he should be embarrassed. And Cynthia Quarterman, the person that said he's embarrassed, helped him craft the rule. She helped him make the rule. What did Pete Buttigieg say about this? He said something. I can't remember exactly what it was that he said. I think he said something about Trump. Yeah, exactly. Politics. Politics. We're looking at politics with everybody throwing everybody under the bus and nobody making any sense. Regulations force people to have to advance technology. And if the train at the center of the derailment had the advanced braking system, there is no question that the accident would have been less dramatic. As Bloomberg notes, the Obama mandate, which was introduced along with a bunch of other new safety rules, would have forced trains to swap out what then head of Federal Rail Administration likened to a Civil War era braking system. But of course, the other rules scrapped by the 45th president were for recurring safety audits of railroads and the requirement of having at least 2 crew members aboard freight trains. Though the Norfolk Southern train that derailed had 3 crew members aboard. Yeah, Pete Buttigieg. You know what I'm saying? Pistol Pete. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about that? The one of the requirements that was cut, right? Listen to this. One of the requirements that was cut was that these trains need to have 2 crew members. The train that derailed had 3. So I'm saying that to say this. What is the media doing here? Does it sound like they're causing confusion? They're going off of a bunch of if-then statements that don't even apply to what's going on to say, see, this could have happened if this had happened, and this could have happened if that could have happened, and this could have happened if that could have happened. What that is called is proximate cause. And in court, a lot of times, proximate cause isn't an admissible argument. Shout out to my man DJ Elmo. Yeah, I agree, Ricky. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly what that is. Politico notes that in regards to the 2-member rule, the Trump administration had claimed a train crew staffing rule would unnecessarily impede the future of rail innovation and automation. Congressional Republicans and former Trump administration officials owe East Palestine an apology for selling them out to the rail industry lobbyists when they dismantled the Biden rail safety protections, as well as EPA powers to rapidly contain spills. While White House spokesman Andrew Bate said in a statement, he added that GOP lawmakers laid the groundwork for the Trump administration to get rid of safety requirements. And while he was at it, claimed House Republicans want to defund our ability to protect drinking water. So again, now I got to bring back Flint. Okay, they've had drinking water in East Palestine for a very long time. What about Flint? Let me ask you guys a question. Is the water in Flint, is it drinkable? Shout out to Deneen. What's good with it, Deneen? Is the water in Flint still drinkable? Are people able to drink that water? So here's my question. When are we going to deal with all of these? What I'm going to show you is this. When it comes to these crises, have you ever heard of the saying, never let a good disaster or never let a good crisis go to waste? That's what you're seeing here. You notice how crises never get fixed, but then they get talked about heavily during the political season? Crises are an opportunity for massive amounts of political propaganda, so much so to the fact that the actual issues at the heart of the crisis never get addressed. If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. So, oh, look, somebody had asked about Pete Buttigieg. So we're going to see what he said real quick before we hop off this Vanity Fair article. Could Biden and Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg have publicly addressed the disaster sooner and visited the site before Trump? Yes, sure. In an interview with CBS on Tuesday, Buttigieg admitted as much, saying, I was focused on just making sure that our folks on the ground were all set, but could have spoken sooner about how strong I felt about this incident and that it's a lesson learned for me. It's completely ridiculous for Trump to show up while failing to acknowledge the damage done by his administration. Also, yes. So again, pay very close attention to how everything is always politicized. Puffy the doo-doo crumb snitcher. Yeah. Facts. So I just wanted to bring that up in reference, right? Norfolk Southern is having some problems. What it actually seems like the issue really is it seems like the issue is that Norfolk Southern is just very negligent with its own safety practices. Why they're not doing anything about that is beyond me. But again, they're not going to do anything about it at all because the Democrats and the Republicans can both opportunize off of it. But yet you have ignorant people on the ground there who are sitting there saying that this is a war on white people while this is going on in multiple black cities. If this is what we're going to consider a war on white people, what do you call what's going on with black people? If this is a war on white people, then what we have going on against us is just blatant genocide. Here's a better question. Why does it have to be a competition? Why can't they just complain about what the government's not doing for them and shut the fuck up? Why do they have to bring us up? Charlie Kirk said this isn't going to get treated like Flint. What do you mean treated like Flint? Flint's still messed up. New Orleans is still messed up from Katrina. Jackson is messed up. The who was that? The governor of Jackson said, "Yeah, at least I don't have to go through Jackson." I mean, shit. You know? So now here it says he said that the company would pay in full for cleanup and ongoing harm caused. Norfolk Southern will get the job done and help East Palestine thrive, he said. Now let me ask you guys a question. Has Jackson or Flint or New Orleans gotten a promise like that? We will get the job done and help East Palestine thrive. Let me guess, because there was no company that can be identified for producing the hurricane, you know what I'm saying? Then that's not going to happen in New Orleans. And when it comes to Flint, I mean, the business owners just don't care, and they're so locked in and friends with the government that it just doesn't matter. It's just not even going to get acknowledged. The Senate hearing focused on the ongoing environmental cleanup from the incident and what safety measures would be needed to prevent a future disaster. There were no injuries from the 38-car derailment, but hazardous materials seeped into the soil and water. Due to concern over a potential explosion of flammable liquids, a controlled burn of vinyl chloride was carried out, sending black clouds billowing across the region. And there's a lot of people who are questioning if that was an actual controlled burn. And this is exactly, Deneen, this is being treated exactly like Flint, but the people there can't handle it. And that's what, and the people watching can't handle it. And that's why everybody is outraged. So this situation right here is proof. This is proof that if they're not given preferential treatment, they call it anti-white racism. You're not getting treated any different than anybody else. The same thing that happened to everybody else is happening to you. You're getting left hanging. But it's so built in to think that the privilege should be there, that everybody should just drop what they're doing and go, you know what I'm saying, like just go rescue them, that it's now being called racism and a war on them. It's not. It amazes me how, like, those same people, they can say that the government is shitty until there's a comparable situation to black people. Then it's somehow they're being victimized. And it's just, it's I like people will get all upset about this and just start huffing and puffing, like it's not even okay for me to be white anymore. Like, what are you talking about? No, it's not okay for you to breathe the air and drink the water where you're at. But you being white, I mean, nobody, that's perfectly fine. Do you? I mean, this is like literally there's these deflections and like they just go off the rails and say like completely unrelated stuff. Not even okay for me to be white anymore. Like, what are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? Because a damn train derailed? It's crazy, man. But it's very revealing. Residents subsequently reported health issues, including ongoing coughing, fatigue, and skin irritation, saying that they are extremely concerned about the long-term effects on health and environment. Now, one thing that I do find interesting is that this group of people here, these very people, in most cases, because everything is so politicized, in most cases, they're against any kind of environmental or infrastructure effort. Updating the railroad track would have been an infrastructure effort. What happened? That's the question. Real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please make sure you guys take a moment, smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you're watching, also take a moment, hit the bell icon twice, and also please share the video out to your social media. Sherrod Brown, Ohio's Democratic senator, described East Palestine as the kind of community that's so often forgotten or exploited by corporate America. How? Can somebody explain that to me? If you ask me, the inner cities are exploited by corporate America. Are you serious? The inner cities are right there. The corporations are in the inner cities. All of the billions of dollars those businesses make do not go back into the public schools of those areas. The businesses pay the least taxes. The tax burden is highest on the people there. That's not how it is in East Palestine. East Palestine is in the sticks. East Palestine is a city that's just waiting for a surviving the suburbs story. It's not an air. When do the suburbs most often get exploited, except for by people that want to kill their entire families? Like, what else is the suburbs exploited for? What are the rural areas exploited for? Except for when people want to use the farm equipment to try to hide the body by putting their ex-wife through a meat grinder and then putting her in a pig trough. Like, what else is exploited out there? By who? There's no corporations even in the vicinity. What are they talking about? Shout out to Torian. Torian did a video yesterday of some sick weirdo that lived in a community just like East Palestine that was doing some weekend with Bernie shit with his mom. He would put his mom in the damn deep freezer, bring her out, put her in a hot tub, thaw her out, mess around with her for a little bit, and then put her back in the freezer. In the suburbs. That shit. This is that shit that goes on in the suburbs. Can you imagine when they clear out all of this nuclear waste, how many dead bodies and insanity, what they're going to find? I bet you they're going to close a whole bunch of missing person cases once they clean this up. Yeah, basically, Deneen, welcome to our world. You found out the hard way that the world is correct. It always sucks when you find out you're just not that special. You know, here this entire time you thought you were special and you're not. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says he continued. Now these Ohioans are worried about whether their water is safe to drink and the air is safe to breathe, whether their kids will get sick, whether their crops are contaminated, whether they'll be able to still be able to do business and attract investment. Air and water monitoring has been in place since the accident, Mr. Shaw told the congressional hearing. It consistently indicated that the air is safe to breathe and the water is safe to drink, he said. No, That's not what happened. What happens is that the instruments gave you a reading that said that things were within a certain range. You haven't actually seen people live in that environment long term and be okay. You haven't seen that yet. And one thing that anybody knows that does any kind of assessment of anything, if any of your assessment involves using mechanical equipment for evaluation, you always do it manually too, because manual is always the most obvious. Yeah, I agree, Cassie. I don't think the water's safe. I don't think anything is safe out there. I don't think anything is safe out there. I think the entire place is radiated. You know what I'm saying? The entire place out there is radiated. There's no way anything there is safe. You know what I'm saying? I'm not buying it. So now here it says Norfolk Southern has committed $20 million to East Palestine, but that isn't expected to increase, particularly with civil lawsuits being filed against the company. Now, how many people knew about the lawsuits? Because a lot of people in Ohio are suing Norfolk Southern. Let me ask you guys a question. And I'm actually asking you guys this question because I don't know. The city that, or I'm sorry, the business that is responsible for the contamination of the water in Flint, did anybody bring a lawsuit against that business? If you guys know the answer to that, give me a thumbs up. Did anybody bring did anybody bring a lawsuit to that business? Do you know? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed that like button, help your boy out, hit that like button, and also make sure you guys share the video out to your social media. That's extremely important because YouTube does not recommend my content. Once this video is over, all the views that you see that I got right now, that's all that's going to be there. You're going to come back to this video tomorrow and be like, damn, didn't nobody watch this shit? And y'all know that on YouTube, that's impossible. Somebody going to watch it if they even watch it for just 5 seconds. But on my shit, and once when the end live button is pressed, that's all, folks. That the buck stops there. Okay, so people knew about the lawsuit. Shout out to AB Promotions. So now here it says some lawmakers also had criticism for how the Biden administration handled the disaster. Now, didn't the Biden administration at first say that they weren't even going to go out to East Palestine? Why would you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like some shit just blew up. Shout out to Carlton Way. I'm not going out there right now. I mean, like in a lot of during the time this was going on, Biden was in Ukraine. You got shit going on right here. This city right here looks worse than the pictures that they show of Russia and Ukraine. This looks like Russia just launched a bomb. Why your ass ain't here? Where your ass was at? You know what I'm saying? Who made that song? Who made Y'all know I be trolling, man. Sometimes I can't even get out what I'm about to say because I be laughing so hard. Who made that song? Where your ass was at? Future? Russell Wilson know where that ass was at. It was in that dress or that outfit that Sierra had on. That's hilarious. I know one person that wasn't mad about that outfit that Sierra had on. Russell Williams. That brother was not upset about that outfit at all. And I guarantee you, the closer it got, the closer it got time to go, the more pro that outfit he was. You know what I'm saying? That outfit even had women upset about it. You know what I'm saying? Usually, anytime anybody talk about the future Russell Wilson, Sierra stuff, the women will be going against the men, and the men be going, the men be going against the women. That shit had everybody on the same page. Everybody was outraged. Everybody was outraged about that dress, except Russell Wilson. Something interesting about that whole dynamic. I'll just leave it there. So now here it says, she said that by simply pointing people to fact sheets and press releases on the EPA site has allowed misinformation to flood into the vacuum. Well, as long as no vinyl chloride flooded into that vacuum, I think it's pretty safe still. Mr. Shaw, who highlighted that he had taken over the leadership role 10 months ago, said that Norfolk Southern was fully cooperating with the National Transportation Safety Board investigation into the cause of the derailment. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Is Pete Buttigieg a chair on the National Transportation Safety Board, or is he in charge of it or something like that? Sierra hit the ultimate simp jackpot with Russell Williams or with Russell Wilson. Yeah, she might have. She might have. But I think Russell Wilson may have hit the jackpot in some ways too. it might just look better for Sierra. You know what I'm saying? It might look bad on the outside for Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? It might look bad on the outside for him. But you know how like sometimes people will win the jackpot and then like there's another jackpot that's still pretty good too. You know, like sometimes like you'll hit 5 numbers and you still get you hit 5 numbers and you still get like $3 million. I think Russell Wilson like pocketed that. Russell Wilson pocketed that $3 million and just shut the fuck up. Sierra walking around with the big check. You know how when you win the lottery, they give you the big check, the big cardboard check. The nigga Russell Wilson got a big ass wad of money and just shoved it in his pocket. That's why I keep saying, hey, Mr. Knickerbocker, like everybody was mad at Sierra except for Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Deneen just mad because they ain't winning no more games. Shout out to my man right here. Nobody wants to be treated black, and you know that. Facts. If you guys agree with bitch, we lit, give me a thumbs up. If you guys disagree, give me a thumbs down. That's how can't you could tell this is somebody that I you could tell this is somebody that I know, you know what I'm saying, from the hood with this with the username. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all been watching my streams for a minute. You could tell that somebody with the screen name bitch we lit is somebody that I'm cool with. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's terrible, man. I'm terrible. I need to get my life together. I need to get my damn life together. So the NTSB, and see now, if the National Transportation Safety Board, if Pete Buttigieg is a part of that, he should have been one of the first people on the scene. Hey, but speaking of which, one thing that we can never forget when it comes to the East Palestine situation is with all of the radiation in the air, they happen to commit an act of police brutality on the only black person there. We can never forget that. Anytime anybody brings up East Palestine, one of the things that always has to be brought up is, oh, yeah, that's where that black reporter got tackled in the gymnasium for no reason, right? Because the only acts of violence that happened there was against the train itself and against the only black journalist that was there. There's a black journalist from News Nation, and the police tackled his ass and said that he couldn't record. We'll just sweep that under the rug, though, and never talk about it again because we got more pressing things to worry about, like if East Palestine will ever lose its glow. Yeah, Pete knows how dangerous it is. He doesn't want those hemorrhoids to be inflamed by the radiation. Could you imagine if Pete Buttigieg went out there to East Palestine, what that radiation would do to his hemorrhoids? That's what you don't want. The next train that derailed would be the train that brings that what's that shit called? That hemorrhoid AC medicine or whatever. That would be the next train that derailed because he would order some of that shit from Amazon ASAP. A drone might crash and a train might crash because you know he got enough money to do that shit where I'm gonna order from all over the place, and wherever I get it from first, I'm gonna just cancel all the other orders. It would definitely impact his personal time. Yeah. That reporter need to holler at Crump and get a smooth 300K. Yeah, no doubt. He need to start wearing a C collar too. And he need to sue News Nation. Somebody he got injured on the job. I'm the only black person that works here, and you sent me into this all white area. I don't know if you watch Black Light Revelations, but I do. And I saw Surviving the Suburbs, and I asked my boss not to send me there, and they did it against my recommendation. That's negligence. You know what I'm saying? That's negligence. Everybody knows that when you're doing your job, you can barely survive the suburbs. Oh man. So yeah. So we don't need to read the rest of this. You know what I'm saying? We get the point. Another Norfolk Southern train derails as CEO apologizes before Congress for Ohio toxic crash. Okay. So we know that. My question is, how do you deal with the difference in the way that these things are handled? How do we deal with that? Let me ask you guys a question. Why would they pause the wastewater removal in East Palestine? Why would they do that? Look at this. I want to show you guys something real quick. Yeah, I can see it today. Thank you, Roots Tracker. And real quick, you guys, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please make sure you guys smash the like button and also make sure you share the video out. And if you're not subscribed, hit the bell. We're trying to get 10K by the end of this year. We can do it. Let's check this out real quick. This right here, this commercial has got to be one of the longest commercials on any website. Like this commercial right here, this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why this commercial is so long and so drawn out and so graphic, like a damn movie. All right, look at this. Look at this. Watch this. You see it? They were being awful calm while the train was just going off the rails. Shout out to whoever was recording this. Look at it. Watch this. They don't even move or nothing. Man, that's scary. That's a scary sight. So now this is about the other train that derailed in East Palestine. Ohio residents were ordered to shelter in place on Sunday after another Norfolk Southern train ran off the tracks. The 212 car train derailed at Ohio 41 near the Prime Ohio Business Park in Springfield around 5 p.m. The Clark County Emergency Management said about 20 of the train's boxcars toppled off the tracks while it was traveling through the city. The Saturday crash took place roughly 300 miles southeast of East Palestine, where residents are growing sick from toxins spoiled that month. So as you can see, in one mainstream media outlet, they say that they're not getting sick. In the other media outlet, they say that they are getting sick. Here's the real question. What's actually happening? What is actually going on? You know what I'm saying? A spokesman confirmed with the Post that Norfolk Southern, the same railway company involved in the tragic East Palestine derailment that contaminated 1.1 million gallons of water and 15,000 pounds of soil, was operating the derailed train. No hazardous materials are involved, and there have been no reported injuries, the company said. Hazmat crews at the scene identified 4 tankers containing non-hazardous materials. 2 had residual amounts of diesel exhaust fuel, and 2 had residual amounts of polyacrylamide water solution. WHIO TV reported on Sunday. Officials determined that there was no public health risk and that the drinking water near the site was safe to drink, although the scene remained active, according to the report. So what it seems like to me, right, and I just want to ask you guys what you guys think. It seems like initially when this happens, they always say that things are safe at the site. But now here's the real question. How long does it take for these kind of chemicals to circulate to where they're even detectable? Because if this kind of thing happened, these kind of radiation and stuff like that, it works off a half-life and how it breaks down and all that kind of stuff. It's not gonna be readily there immediately. It might not even show up on the instruments immediately. You know what I mean? So they shouldn't come out with statements immediately after this kind of stuff happens, sitting there talking about, well, you know, it's safe. No, your instruments are showing that it's safe. There's no evidence that it is actually safe until people have survived and lived there without developing any issues for a duration of time. your instruments say that you're safe. You know what I'm saying? So now here it says Clark County lifted the shelter-in-place order on Sunday. Residents within 1,000 feet of the derailment had been asked to remain indoors out of an abundance of caution. Now, here's my question. What if something was going on? What is staying indoors going to do to help? That's my question for you guys. How's that going to help? What is staying indoors going to help with? How is that going to help anything? And what is it going to help with? That's the question. What's staying indoors going to do? What's that going to help with? What's that going to help you do? Save gas money if you stay indoors? What's that going to do? You know what I'm saying? That's not going to do anything. It's not going to do anything except for keep you in a nice, neat little place where you can die and somebody can come and clean you up and everybody will know where all the dead bodies are because they'll all be inside of a house. That's all that does. You know what I'm saying? So Sean Heaton told the Springfield News Sun that he was in his car waiting for the train to pass when he watched one of the boxcars slip off the track. Okay. That's when I started recording and you could see them just jumping off the tracks. So that's crazy. This entire situation is crazy. So why would East Palestine do this? That's the question. Why would East Palestine pause, or why would the EPA pause orders for wastewater removal? Why would they do that? See, that doesn't make very much sense, does it? Let's check this out.
Get the word out. So unfortunately, after this derailment, a lot of information was suppressed from, the public. We didn't really know, what was on the cars that wrecked. We were not sure, how we were, but now, we know that things are evolving daily. We've had news briefs over the last 48 hours that have really updated us on what did happen to us. And it is catastrophic, to say the least. We found out through, this has been reported on our local news and is getting national pickup, but unfortunately, Norfolk Southern knew that the train had problems. It had broken down in Madison, Illinois on February 1st, and employees told.
Did you all know that the train had a prior breakdown? If you guys knew that there was a prior breakdown, give me a thumbs up. If you guys didn't know that, then give me a thumbs down. That's weird, isn't it? How come they didn't do anything about it? How come they didn't do anything about it? Why would they keep that information private? Probably because they didn't fix whatever the issue was that caused the initial crash, which means that the likelihood of another crash was probably high. Uh-oh, Richard. Right. Uh-oh, Richard. Chris Rock should have told that train not to derail in front of white people. Chris Rock should have passed his family values down to that train. Don't derail in front of white people. Shout out to my man U-Law. What's good with it, bro?
Reported back that the train was too heavy and knew it was carrying those toxic materials. We know 30,000 or plus gallons of crude oil went into our ground that could get in our groundwater. We had several different chemicals other than vinyl chloride we know spilled. We were also alerted by several cities, including East Liverpool, and cities as far south as Steubenville, Ohio, which is, I believe, over an hour from East Palestine, reporting levels of the contaminants in their water. They all put out statements and said that they're not sure if it's
no. All of those cities that she talked about, those are boondocks. Those are future Surviving the Suburbs episodes. East Liverpool, Steubenville. That's no man's land. There's literally, I bet you haven't ever seen nothing like out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
They think it's relatively low, but they're not certain. East Palestine residents, after over 14 days, or I think we're at 14 days, are now being told to drink bottled water after they were let in their homes with only air quality testing completed. People were allowed back in their homes with no water, soil testing that was completed. They had started but not completed it, and they also were let back in their homes without any surface testing. They weren't given any help to clean their homes. National Guard came and went, and they were basically responsible for decontaminating their own homes and getting rid of any items that they felt, may be contaminated. So they kept telling us, over and over and over again that there were no toxins released in the air. Well, they did not address the water and soil and surface until people really started asking questions about why that wasn't being talked about. And when pushed, the EPA basically said that it's an ongoing thing and that no.
So now I want you guys to take a look at this. Do you see how they just basically give a template? They give a template type answer. Do you guys see that? And the residents of the city were like, well, we want to know information about what's going on with XYZ. And they're just like, well, everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Did you all happen to catch that? Because that's not good. That's not how that's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing that's crazy about this is that how come they didn't send any warning about this being the second derailment in Clark County in less than a year? And here's another thing. When they're talking about this in the mainstream media, how come that particular incident isn't being discussed? Like, to me, that's huge. That says that there was already a problem, right? If you guys agree, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, give me a thumbs down.
Like, water testing was not complete. We have residents that are coming to us being told that they have been told by the railroad that their homes are toxic. That around here, just to give a little bit of picture. So a lot of us have old homes. Our basements are not finished. We live around a lot of water. Groundwater comes into our, basements. It's common. This is happening to residents. We have ground organizers with the organization I work with that were directly affected, evacuated, and their home is now one of the ones where it has the groundwater running in and it's toxic. So that's the concern. People's animals, yeah.
Shout out to Roots Trackers for answering the Nightbot. The air is fine. Now go sit your ass down somewhere, right? That's Biden's way of handling it.
Like you had said, they're dead. It's very sad. Livestock, chickens. There was a fox sanctuary. People's animals, like their dogs, their pets, are dead. There's thousands of fish dead all over the river after the release and the spilling into the ground. And residents are angry. They're angry for a number of reasons. One, their property now has no resale value at all. So even if they want to get out of East Palestine after this, they can't. Most of them live paycheck to paycheck here in Appalachia. They're farmers, factory workers, small business owners. They don't have a bunch of cash on hand.
See, I told you guys. There's no corporations there. I've been to East Palestine before. I survived the suburbs. I've driven through East Liverpool. That whole little area is right around down by like the West Virginia borderline. Part of it is like up by the Pennsylvania borderline too. That like, I don't know if you guys have ever been to like actual rural areas, because like there's what people call the boondocks, and then there's actual rural areas where there's where it's actually a rural area, where like it's not any other. It's like the houses are like 3 miles from each other, and then there's random farms and silos all over the place. That's the kind of shit that East Palestine is. It's not like no area that just happens to be far out, and you know what I'm saying? Like, no, that shit is the for real boondocks. That's just legit boondocks. That's that kind of shit where motherfuckers have a tractor to go get their mailbox type boondocks. You know what I'm
saying? They're upset about that. They're also unfortunately upset about Norfolk Southern giving a tedious reimbursement process. So some people weren't even sure if they were going to have a hotel to stay in when this was going on. So they're having to make a decision to go back into their homes that they're 100% certain more testing needs to be done. Now, we know, I mean, this is being said by the EPA, or they have to try to scrounge money to stay somewhere. So there's a lot of problems. Also, I think that people are frustrated on both ends because this is a very nonpartisan issue. You know, we have people from all different directions of life. They're getting together on this, and they're upset. They're upset that, you know, the governor won't, in his phone conversations with the administration, ask for FEMA to come in. You know, if
let me ask you guys a question. Katsy, are you still in here? Does anybody know if FEMA came in yet? I think since this article has been published, this article is from February 25th of 2023. I think that since this article had been published, I think FEMA has actually come in now. If anybody knows in the comment section if FEMA is actually actively involved in this situation, help me out and let me know. I'm pretty sure that since this, they've come in, but I'm not certain. So I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, just go saying anything and I don't have the facts. The big homie FEMA, right? Carlton said, as a black man, I speed through rural areas. Man, I don't know if you want to speed through rural areas, bro. It's a no-win situation. You may as well just take your time and enjoy the scenery and just hope you can survive the suburbs. Because if you speed, the one sheriff that they have, will pull you over, and you know what I'm saying? These motherfuckers will pull you over driving a pickup truck. That's how you know your ass is in trouble if you're driving through some bodock area and they don't even have a police car. It's a police pickup truck. Bruh, you're a wrap. That's the dude that'll get out the car and seriously be chewing on straw, talking about you don't look like you belong here. You know how TD Hip Hop Media was telling people about the ski mask police? I'm telling y'all about the pickup truck police. The pickup truck police, that's the Dukes of Hazzard for real. Some motherfucker like that look like Rick. He looked like Rick in season 1 of The Walking Dead. I hop out the car talking about you look like you don't belongs here. When the white dude hop out the truck sounded like Jim Clyburn, You're done. if you get pulled over in an area where a racist white police officer sounds like an old foundational black American, you're done. That motherfucker has a cross right in his trunk that he about to go burn. That's when you know you're in the deep racist South. When the white people sound like Jim Clyburn, it's bad news. Don't get pulled over. See, Indiana, Indiana. Those are our neighbors too. Indiana, part of the family. That's part. Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. That's part of the. That's part of the dust. That's part of the dusty sector of the Midwest. you know what I'm saying? That's part of the northern dusty part of the Midwest. Detroit, you know what I'm saying? Indiana, Gary, you know what I'm saying? Buffalo, Pittsburgh. That's the dusty air. That's the dusty sector of the Midwest. You can go from being in a damn boondocks to being in the middle of some projects that you don't even know that you in like 5 minutes. Man, that shit crazy.
He's talking to the administration and the president right now, that needs to be asked. There's a chain of command that happens. Residents are also concerned about long-term effects. I live myself a few miles from the derailment site, but people that are right at the derailment site are concerned about their future. Vinyl chloride is.
See, Carla said she drove through rural Ohio going to Tennessee. What did you see driving through rural Ohio? What was there? Do you remember anything? What was the scenery like? Yeah, that's what I thought, Deneen. Thank you. FEMA wasn't going to provide assistance. I do remember that. I remember hearing about that. But then they got shamed into going there around 219. Yeah. Fields. It's just ongoing fields. It's endless fields. Depending on what time of year you go, it might be corn. Like they might be like corn stalks. But it's like if you ever seen Children of the Corn, that's literally what it's like driving through like the freeway on Ohio. Nothing. You're not gonna see anything. Just it's either all woods or all cornfields. That's it. It ain't shit else. There's literally nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Proven to have cancer causing agents, and exposure can cause liver cancer 3 to 5 years down the road, even 10. So people are upset. They're not getting their questions answered at the town hall last night. I even heard city officials and other people use language that was not exactly welcoming. Our 6th district representative Bill Johnson was there, but he didn't answer questions. It was more of a photo op thing. People these officials are not really answering their questions. And
let me ask you guys a question. Why do you think they're not answering questions? Why are the officials not answering any questions? You guys agree that they really should be answering questions. This is a time where it's imperative that questions should be answered, right? So my question for you guys is, why are they not answering questions right now? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, please help me out. Hit that like button. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the bell icon twice. And also share the video to your social media. And also make sure that you subscribe to my backup channels. They don't want to be culpable. Yeah, I believe that that's it. Honestly, I think that it's more so they honestly don't know what to do. In most cases, it's always easy to do a drill, or it's always easy to do some type of preparation exercise for one of these kind of situations. But when it actually happens, people tend to get scared. And I think what we're seeing is the government scared. I also think they don't know what they're doing. And I think that that's one of the things that scares them, is that they don't know what they're doing. They don't have full control over this situation. You know what I'm saying? They don't have full control over the situation. And I'm pretty sure that they probably don't like that. So being that they don't have full control over the situation, they're going to try to manage it by putting out the false narrative that we know what we're doing and you need to listen to us, but we're not going to tell you anything. Just do what we say and don't question us. We've seen that before. I mean, that's we literally just went through that with the C-19 pandemic. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody had the answers. You don't become an automatic expert of things at the spare of the moment. You work your way through it. Nobody knew any of the answers, and we weren't even allowed to question anything. We weren't even allowed to have speculation. B1, Mike, what's good with it, bro? We had to do exactly what we were told. I mean, we didn't have to, but you know what I mean. So that's what we had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And they're probably dealing with that again here. Now, shout out to Tori and Rain, because I've been trolling and talking about how Charlie Kirk and Mark Dyson, all them, are saying that this is a war on white people. But here's the question. What race are all of the politicians who are involved in the decision-making and facilitation of interventions for this incident? What race are they? What race is Biden? What race is Buttigieg? What race is Trump? What race are the city council people? How is this a war on white people?
I guess I'd like to end with this. This is not the city officials' job, to do this. This is way above them. This needs to be the state and federal government coming in and helping out. This is not their burden to carry. We have first responders that didn't even have hazmat suits that were fighting this fire, because 85% of our first responders are volunteer in our small communities. So if you all, keep following this at the dispatch, it would be
when all you got is voluntary fire people. That's another thing that makes it that much harder to survive the suburbs.
Good, because every day we have more news come out about how we were poisoned.
Emily, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate your insight into this, and hopefully we'll catch up again.
All right, so there's that. So my question for you guys is, what do you guys think about that? Is anybody surprised? Anybody find any information that they didn't know? What do you guys think about that? Now, the residents are not happy. You know what I'm saying? People are upset. And Norfolk Southern has been sued. This is an article from today, all right? It is from CNBC. Let me ask you guys, do you think that this will get settled, or is this going to court? What's going to happen here? Ohio sues Norfolk Southern over East Palestine derailment. Ohio sued rail company Norfolk Southern over the derailment of a train carrying toxic materials in East Palestine last month. The state's attorney general announced this on Tuesday. The state is seeking damages, civil penalties, and a declaratory judgment that Norfolk Southern is responsible, Attorney General Dave Yost said. So they're not taking the forgive and forget route, huh? They're not taking the good old let it be bygones and let's just get past this. And notice how the state of Ohio went ahead and did this for these people. They didn't do like a private class action lawsuit. This is the state of Ohio that's doing this. Now, see, now you know, now see, this is how you play dirty. This is how you play dirty, right? Because now if let's just say East Palestine was a black area. Let's just say East Palestine was a black area. And let's say the state of Ohio said, you know what, we're going to go and sue Norfolk Southern. If East Palestine was a black area, some organization called Conservatives for the Confederacy would come out of nowhere and either have attorneys on retainer or pay a giant retainer to some attorney fund to tie up the Ohio legislation in court so that black people couldn't get their money. So see, one of the things that people need to start doing is until people start backing off of us, when stuff like this happens, people need, I'm gonna throw this law firm a bunch of money to help Norfolk Southern to tie this shit up in court. Now, people may say, damn, that's messed up because these people need their restitution. Okay, so do we. So do we. And since you guys like to play, we can play too. Maybe when you start seeing stuff done that you all laugh about and think is funny, doing it to us, maybe when you're inconvenienced by it, maybe you'll stop. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll double down, and then maybe we'll have to double down. Who knows? But nobody's done that yet. Oh, I got 10 attorneys that ain't got nothing to do. I'm going to send them all over there to make sure they tie this up in court for about 2 years. And then we can keep pushing for appeal into a lower court and then a statute of limitation. But why? And then everybody else can be the ones doing the tweeting. But why? Why did this organization come and try to mess things up? But why? Why did this organization come and try to mess things up? Because clearly that's how you play the game. Because every time we're entitled to something, somebody comes along and tries to mess it up. So now we're just doing what everybody else is doing. Fights are not fun when the person you're fighting against hits back. They're really not fun when the person that you're fighting against hits back as hard as you. And they're definitely no fun at all when the person that you're fighting against hits back even harder than you. And that's because and the reason for that, Deneen, is because the Republicans and the Democrats have politicized the environment. Literally, carbon dioxide, which is a naturally occurring substance, is a political issue here in the United States. It's carbon dioxide, for freaking, you know what I'm saying, for Christ's sake. But because we live in the United States, it's a political issue. It's no longer just a molecule. It's no longer just an end product of exhaust or respiration. It's a political issue. Like it's a joke here in the United States. Our political system is a joke. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge joke. So now here it says Yost said on Tuesday he heard from people who experienced sore throats and other irritations while visiting the site, and he noticed that even he felt uncomfortable uncomfortable himself while he was there. But remember, they said that it's safe to be there. Ohio sued rail company Norfolk Southern over the derailment of a train carrying toxic materials in the town of East Palestine last month, the state's attorney general announced on Tuesday. The 58-count lawsuit alleges several violations of state and federal law pertaining to hazardous waste, water pollution, air pollution, and common law negligence, among others, said Dave Yost, the state's attorney general, during a press briefing. The state is seeking damages, civil penalties, and a declaratory judgment that Norfolk Southern is responsible, he said. This derailment was entirely avoidable, Yost said, adding that Norfolk Southern has seen an 80% increase in accidents over the past decade. Now, why is that? And who knew about that? And how come when they had that 80% increase, they didn't do anything about the quality standards? Yeah, Ohio is a big time welfare state. Big welfare checks going out in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? And which is crazy because the cost of living is already dirt cheap. It's one of the cheapest places to live in the United States. The fallout from this highly preventable accident is going to reverberate through Ohio and Ohioans for many years to come. Yost is seeking repayment of the state's costs, including for natural resource damages, emergency responses, and economic harm to the state and its residents. Yost said some businesses have lost significant revenues as people continue to avoid the area. The state's complaint asks for a minimum damages of $75,000 as a formality, but notes that the damages far exceed that minimum as the situation in East Palestine continues to unfold. Like, do you see how cheap it is in Ohio? Like, they go into court over $75,000. All that damn radiation and shit, these fools taking them to court for $75,000. It's going to take more money than that to pay the staff that's at court that day. I'm taking you to court immediately for $75. Like what? $75,000. Like what? You've destroyed our community. Well, how can we make it better? 75,000 or bust. Like, okay. Do we even have to go do we even have to go to court for that? Let me just drive to the bank real quick and I'll do a withdrawal. We're not playing games or taking prisoners anymore. You've destroyed a whole city. We need $75,000 or there's going to be big trouble. I'd be just standing there like, okay, don't hurt me while I give you the $75,000, please. According to the complaint filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Ohio, the derailment is one of a long string of Norfolk Southern derailments and hazmat incidents. Since 2015, at least 20 Norfolk Southern derailments involved chemical discharge, the state claims. Norfolk Southern executives met with Yost this week to discuss assistance programs the company will establish alongside Yost's office and others from the community, the company said in a statement on Tuesday. We look forward to working towards a final resolution with Attorney General Yost and others as we coordinate with his office, community leaders, and other stakeholders to finalize the details of these programs, the company said. On February 3rd, a Norfolk Southern freight train with 11 cars carrying hazardous materials derailed near Ohio's border with Pennsylvania and subsequently ignited, spurring concerns of health impacts for the surrounding community. Notice how it says, and subsequently ignited, but yet they keep saying that they purposely burned off the vinyl chloride. The vinyl chloride was quote unquote control burned. You know what I'm saying? Rail workers have reported feeling ill. All right. during cleanup on the derailment site. Yost said on Tuesday he heard from people who experienced sore throats and other irritants while visiting the site, and he noted he had felt discomfort himself while on location. The complaint said substances from 39 rail cars were released into the ground, stormwater infrastructure, and surface waters that eventually empty into the Ohio River. Yost said there's lots of things we don't know yet regarding whether the chemical spill will have long-term impacts for farmers and their livestock. I'm pretty sure the answer to that is yeah. Just call it a hunch. I'm pretty sure. I'm damn near certain. I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is yes. What do you guys think? I'm thinking that's pretty much common sense. What do you guys think? If you guys think that that's common sense, give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't think that that's common sense, give me a thumbs down. I think that's absolutely what should be expected. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure that that's what should be expected. So now here it says he also highlighted concerns from homeowners that their properties would lose value because potential buyers would be hesitant to move in. So now here's my question. How do they deal with that issue? How do they deal with the issue of the loss of real estate value? They're not going to be able to just deal with that one so easily. And $75 ain't going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? $75,000 ain't cutting that. So we don't need to read too much more of that. What we know is that Ohio is suing Norfolk Southern over the train derailment. I'm interested to see if it even makes it to court. If you ask me, there's a low likelihood, a very low likelihood that it'll go to court. Now, this is what everybody's been waiting for. Vinyl chloride. What is vinyl chloride? You guys secretly been anticipating talks about vinyl chloride? Because what I find interesting is that they keep talking about it on the news and they don't say anything about it. Just vinyl chloride was leaked. You know what I'm saying? Now back to you. Like, you want to tell us about vinyl chloride, what it's used for, why it was there, how it was stored? No, just, vinyl chloride is pretty damn bad. Back to you now. Let me ask you guys a question. What is this picture right here that's next to the title? Do you guys know what that picture is? What is that picture? There's blood cells in the picture. Yeah. That's what those little red things are. A liver. Facts, Andretti. Yep, that's what it is. It's a liver. You know what I'm saying? Those little red parts down there are red blood cells. These pink cells over here are like epithelial cells. Yeah, there's blood in this picture. That's what those little red balls are, Donna. Carlton Way said looked like cow meat. Ugh. So the Ohio train derailment has exposed vinyl chloride. This article is saying that vinyl chloride may have similar liver effects to heavy drinking. Let's start there. What are effects that heavy drinking has on the liver? Let me know in the comment section what heavy drinking does to your liver. The risk is particularly high for people who get their drinking water from a private well. Vinyl chloride, the chemical in several of the train cars that derailed and burned in East Palestine, Ohio on February 23rd, can wreak havoc on the human liver. Okay, so that's bad. That's not a good thing. It has been shown to cause liver cancer as well as non-malignant liver disease known as TASH, or toxicant associated steatohepatitis. And now I was just about to say that what they need to do is they need to monitor these people that live in this area for probably the next 5 to 15 years. And if there's an increased development of hepatitis in that area, you know what I'm saying, then that's a bad sign. That means that radiation is there and it's caused health disparities. You know what I'm saying? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys show some love. Throw some radiation emojis in the chat for CyberDean100 with the $19.99 super chat. Appreciate you, CyberDean. With TASH, the livers of otherwise healthy people can develop the same fat accumulation, inflammation, and scarring, which is fibrosis and cirrhosis, as people who have cirrhosis from alcohol or obesity. That kind of damage typically requires relatively high levels of vinyl chloride exposure, the kind an industrial worker might experience on the job. So now the thing is that when it comes to the kind that an industrial worker might get exposed to on the job, to me, it sounds like this kind of thing is the highest probability to happen in the cleanup crews. Yeah, I agree. If you guys agree with Deneen, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, give me a thumbs down. These people are dead people walking. Yeah, they need to get out. They need to go. They need to pack it up and go away. And they need to go to frequent physicals to make sure they're not developing any kind of symptoms. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my man Black Manta. What's good with it, bro? So now here it says, however, exposure to lower environmental considerations or concentrations are still a concern. That's in part because little is known about the impact of low-level exposure that it might have on liver health, especially for people with underlying liver disease and other risks. An assistant professor of medicine and environmental and occupational health, I study the impact of vinyl chloride on the liver, particularly how it may affect people with underlying liver disease. Recent findings have changed our understanding of the risk. Lesson 1 from Rubbertown. Vinyl chloride is used to produce PVC. What is PVC? How many people know what PVC is? What is that an initial for? PVC. You know, like a PVC pipe. What does PVC stand for? Plastic. That's close. That's very close. Polyvinyl chloride. It's like polystyrene is styrofoam. You know what I'm saying? So, do you guys remember that video that I did, the one that's called Blacklight Technologies, and we talked about forever chemicals? So, polystyrene and polyvinyl chloride are forever chemicals. Look at how toxic the ingredients are for forever chemicals. You know what I'm saying? vinyl chloride is a component part of polyvinyl chloride. What polyvinyl chloride means is that it's gone through a process where there's multiple vinyl chloride molecules in a chain with some kind of hydrocarbon holding it together. That's called a polymer. A lot of these companies manufacture polymers, and a lot of the polymers that's manufactured, believe it or not, they're actually engineered to mimic human tissues, but those are most of the plastics that you see. You know what I'm saying? Those are most of the plastics that you see. So see, now here it says vinyl chloride is used to produce PVC, which is polyvinyl chloride, a hard plastic used for pipes and in some packaging and coating and wiring. Its health risks were discovered in the 1970s at BF Goodrich factory in Rubbertown, neighborhood of Louisville, Kentucky. 4 workers involved in polymerization process for producing polyvinyl chloride there each developed angiosarcoma of the liver, an extremely rare type of tumor. Their cases became among the most important sentinel events in the history of occupational medicine and led to worldwide recognition as vinyl chloride as a carcinogen. So what happens now is that vinyl chloride itself is a carcinogen, which means that in that area where vinyl chloride was leaked, in the long term, what kind of effects should we look at in the residents who live there? You see, we could figure this stuff out. Now that we know what kind of chemical vinyl chloride is, now that we know that it's a quote unquote carcinogen, in the long term, what kind of effects can we expect to see in the people that live there? Yeah, cancer, facts. Shout out to Andre. Cancer, because that's what carcinogens are. Carcinogens are cancer-causing agents. So isn't that nice? You mix a cancer-causing agent together, and you get a forever chemical. And if you spill a little bit of it, you get cancer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's everywhere. It's all over the place. Did you guys know that there's a giant island in the Pacific Ocean that's a mountain of nothing but garbage? How many people knew about the garbage island in the Pacific Ocean? It's just all from all kinds of waste materials that was made. So now here it says the liver is the body's filter for removing toxicants from the blood. Specialized cells known as hepatocytes help to reduce the toxicity of drugs. That's one of the reasons why you got to be careful how much Tylenol you take, because Tylenol is processed and excreted through the liver. And if you take too much of it, it can put strain on your liver and harm your liver. Yeah, the Pacific Garbage Patch. That's it. Titanium dioxide has been banned in France. It's carcinogenic. I believe it. I believe it. The hallmark of vinyl chloride exposure to the liver is paradoxical combination of normal liver function tests and the presence of fat in the liver and death of hepatic cells, which make up the bulk of liver mass. However, the detailed mechanisms that lead to vinyl chloride-induced liver disease are still largely unknown. Recent research has demonstrated that exposure to vinyl chloride, even at levels below the federal limits for safety, can enhance liver disease caused by a Western diet, one rich in fat and sugar. So now let's go back to why I keep saying it doesn't matter what's on those monitors. Now, do you guys see why I kept saying it doesn't matter what's on those monitors? Vinyl chloride, even at levels below what the federal limits of safety are, can enhance liver disease that's already being caused by the diet we eat. So let's just say that when they continue to check the radiation in the area, the amounts of vinyl chloride are within the federal parameters. That doesn't show anything about the people who live there that may have a propensity to develop these kind of diseases because they already have an existing Western diet issue. So it'll accelerate any developing liver disease that they already have. Does that make sense? That's why it doesn't matter what the instruments say. You have to look at the people, and you have to look at the results of their labs, and you have to look at their symptomatology from, like I said, between a 5 to 15-year period. You can't just look at a dial and be like, okay, we're not detecting anything, we can go now. That's not how that works. But it'll work when they're just trying to do what they want to do, when they're just trying to push an agenda. And that agenda is, well, we got to hurry up and go. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really have time to do our job thoroughly. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the risk from ourselves by simply looking at the instrument and using the requirements that we have based on the instruments. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. Like, nice try, bro. But that's for real, not how that works. It doesn't matter what them damn instruments say. The instruments could have they could have the normal amounts register all the time, and it doesn't matter. What matters is how the amount of the chemical is gradually affecting the person or people it's being exposed to. That's the only thing that matters. You know what I'm saying? And you can't find that out until over a period of time, unfortunately. Outdoor exposure and the risk from wells. In outdoor air, vinyl chloride becomes diluted fairly quickly. So that's the logic of why they burned it. Because once they burn it, it dilutes. That means that it basically dissolves into something. It disappears, dissipates. Sunlight also breaks it down. So if it's already getting hit by UV light, it's getting broke down. You know what I'm saying? Typically in 9 to 11 days. Therefore, outdoor exposure is likely not a problem, except within intense periods of exposure, such as immediately following a release of vinyl chloride, which is the period of time that East Palestine was in. If there is a chemical smell or you feel itchy, disoriented, leave the area and seek medical attention. Now, isn't that what those people were saying that they felt? And shout out to everybody answering the Nightbot. Appreciate you, Carla. Isn't this the exact kind of symptom that they said that they felt? So now, why is it that Inverse can write an article about this, and Inverse says definitively, if you go to this area and you feel XYZ, get medical help? But the government, who's supposed to be the experts, they can't tell you about this stuff. Why is that? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't smashed the like button, we are almost at 80 likes. It would be great to continue to keep getting 100 likes per stream. So help me do that by smashing that like button and sharing the video out, and also answering the Nightbot like Carla's doing. Appreciate it. Vinyl chloride also dissipates in water. So now this is what we're talking about as far as the concern about the drinking water, right? There's concerns about what's going on with the drinking water. The Federal Clean Water Act requires monitoring and removing volatile organic compounds such as vinyl chloride from municipal water supplies, so those shouldn't be a concern. However, private wells could become contaminated if vinyl chloride enters the groundwater. Private wells are not regulated by the Clean Water Act and are not usually monitored. Vinyl chloride readily volatilizes into air from water and can accumulate in enclosed spaces located above contaminated groundwater. This is especially a concern if the water is heated, such as for showers or during cooking. Vinyl chloride gas in enclosed spaces can therefore accumulate. This effect is similar to recent concerns about fumes from natural gas stoves in poorly ventilated homes. Although there are established safety levels for acute and intermediate exposure, such levels don't exist for chronic exposure. So testing over time is important. Didn't I say the same thing? So you can't just sit there and on day one turn around and be like, well, everything looks fine. There's nothing else to see here. That's not how that shit works when you're working with toxic chemicals and radiation and stuff like that. That stuff, one of the things that makes it so toxic is how it breaks down and the chemicals it breaks down into, or what it does to surrounding chemicals. Like, you could have a radioactive chemical that's perfectly fine, but by that chemical being next to another chemical, the radiation given off by that radioactive chemical could change the composition of that chemical that's next to it and make that chemical radioactive. And that could be your problem. It might not even necessarily be the chemical that's radioactive that's the problem. It could be how that radioactive chemical affects all the surrounding chemicals, and it might make those chemicals break down into toxic chemicals. That's why you have to watch that kind of situation over time. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Ronnie. What's good with it, bro? So now here it says, what can be done? Anyone with a private well that may have been exposed to vinyl chloride should have the well monitored and tested more than once. People can air out their homes and are encouraged to seek medical help, again, if they experience dizziness or itchy eyes. Now, throughout reading this and throughout talking about this, how many times did we hear complaints of itchy eyes? The attorney general said that he was getting sick. You know what I'm saying? The attorney general had said that he was getting sick. So before we go, I just want to show you this before I close this out. Okay? Because if you guys ever have a conversation with anybody about this and they try to sit there and say, well, that's not true, that's conspiracy theory, it's not conspiracy theory. Norfolk Southern derailment was the second in Clark County in less than a year. You know what I'm saying? Sunday's train derailment, and this is from March 5th. You know what I'm saying? That was updated on March 5th. Sunday's train derailment near Prime, Ohio 2 Industrial Park and the Clark County Fairgrounds was the second Norfolk derailment reported in Clark County in the span of less than 1 year. Okay. So this company is not doing very well as far as when it comes to maintaining safety with these trains. So if you ask me, everything, including a company investigation, is what should happen. See, check this out. This might give some more information. It has some words come up on the screen. Let me see. About 20 of the 200 train cars derailed Saturday in Clark County, including 4 identified with non-hazardous materials. Look at that. There's no indication of any injuries or risk to public health at this time. A crew from the operator of the railway, Norfolk Southern, the Clark County Hazmat Team, and Ohio Environmental Protection Agency each independently examined the crash site. And again, it doesn't matter if they independently examine the crash site or not. These things have to be examined ongoing. It has to be an ongoing assessment and an ongoing evaluation. You know what I'm saying? You can't just look at this stuff one time. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, there's that. Okay? And because of everything that we just watched, it seems to me that East Palestine is just barely surviving the suburbs. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the bell icon twice, smash the like button, share this video out to all of your followers. Make sure you follow my backup channels, and hopefully I will see each and every one of y'all at 3 o'clock for Just Talking with TD and Rob. All right? Peace.